Do you dream of flights to Rwanda taking off?
No, and rather like a dream, they're not going to.
So you don't think that's ever going to happen?
I think if it happens, it will be a press opportunity. There will be photos, there will be footage, all the media will be invited. I understand the political attractiveness because it would demonstrate in a visual sense that something is happening, that the government is doing something. But as I understand it, there are only 170 beds at the moment. The upper estimate I've heard or been told is 500 beds available in Rwanda. Well, compared to the fact that we're now heading for 40,000 in the UK, that's not going to have much of a practical impact. And the reality is that the logistical and financial cost and burden is simply impractical. Now, I've dealt with these sort of things, and it's not going to work. No. There are other far easier, far cheaper, far more streamlined solutions to this, and without the political risk of
where we are now.
Comments that we've just heard.
Ivan, I'll bring you in here, immigration lawyer Ivan Sampson. 38,000 people, and we're hearing now of disorder at various different detention centres. We're also hearing as well that there have been various people running through towns. A grandmother found a particular chap in her grandson's bedroom. We've got to get a grip of this, haven't we, now? What can actually practically be done? Because people are sick and tired of now seeing all the private rentals stop being taken up as well, potentially, by these people coming over the channel.
No, I agree. I think we can't afford to have illegal migration in this country. We simply can't afford it. And the current trends are that in the next 12 months, certainly by next summer, we may see 5,000 a month coming over. The point is you have to have a distinction between those that are illegal migrants and those that are genuine refugees. I printed off some figures for you that there's 4 main countries, Eritrea, Syria, Afghanistan and Iran. Now, more than 97% of nationals from those countries are being granted asylum by the Home Office. And they make up the majority of people crossing the country.
OK.
Now, we are the founder signatories of the Refugee Convention. It is not unlawful under international law to enter the UK illegally to claim asylum. That's the law.
Yes.
And that's our international...
But I think a lot of people are concerned that there's a lot of people, frankly, taking the mick, really, when it comes to this, especially those coming from Albania.
No, I agree. But if we had safe legal routes... Then Suella Braverman, before she resigned and was reappointed, wanted a blanket ban on illegal migration. Now, if we had safe legal routes, then that policy may work. It would seem fair.
Yes.
But you need to have the safe legal routes first before you start putting a blanket ban.
Well, this is it. Henry Bolton, I'll bring you back in now, because Mark White, our Home and Security Editor, told me right here on GBNews Live that cost of housing these people in hotels per day and in various different other forms of accommodation has now risen from 5 million a day to apparently 6.2 million a day. I'm not being funny, but for that amount of money, we could build a massive island somewhere in the middle of the sea and potentially do the processing there or something like that to stop... is that a safe legal route? Come on.
I think there's all sorts of things, Patrick, and the temptation is to say we apply one solution and it's going to fix or significantly impact the problem. And that's not the case. Because the people who are moving from different parts of the world are moving for different reasons. They're encouraged by different motivations, including the encouragement, in some cases, of organised crime.
Absolutely.
We're recruiting them into this movement. In the case of Albania, where we've got a very large proportion of them at the moment are coming from Albania. Now, I was advisor to the Albanian Prime Minister. And I led, until 2006, a little while ago, but the situation's only improved, not got worse in that area, I led the UK's efforts to disrupt transnational organised crime across the Southern Balkans, including Albania, and mainly Albanian people smuggling. They've been at it for years. They're masters at it.
Yes.
And the thing is that Albanians do have a way of getting into the country legally. There's a visa system. They get into the European Union for 3 months without a visa. But the thing is, they actually don't qualify on the point system to come here. So what they do is they get into the European Union where they don't need a visa to enter. They stay there, they move to the North French Channel, and then they come across on their boats, claim asylum. But then the problem that we've got here is in our processing, we've got to think about who we take as having a legitimate claim for asylum. The bar is very low, and I think Ivan might agree. But just to say that the last time Albania itself suffered conflict was in 1997. There's no natural disaster. It's a poor country.
I get that,
and a lot of these
but they
people come from Kosovo and Northern Macedonia, but claim...
Well, they also quite often claim that they are, in fear of gang violence in their own country, and therefore that can happen.